Welcome to our first ever Talk with a Hawk podcast. Today we're going to be interviewing hardworking students and also athletes. Today we are joined by Jack Renaud. I'm your host, Mark Larod.
And I'm Danielle Nanian.
And Jack Renaud is the captain of the football team and quarterback.
What's going on, everyone? Thank you for bringing me on to the first ever Talk with a Hawk podcast. I am blessed to be here. And, yeah.
You want to jump right into questions?
Yes, ma'am. So, how old were you when you first started playing football?
So, when I was about 10 years old, I played flag football. And I always wanted to play tackle football because it was, obviously, who doesn't want to play tackle football? But I was playing flag football at Belmont Hill in this league or whatever. And I always, not beg my parents, but I would always ask and be like, can I play? Can I play? And my dad promised me 3 things when I turned 12. 1, I could play the new Call of Duty. 2, they would finish our basement, which was then a garage. And the 3rd thing was be able to play tackle football when I'm 12. So in 6th grade, when I turned 12, I joined the Pop Warner, now AYF, Junkyard Dogs team. Not Junkyard Dogs, sorry. Devil Dogs team. And yeah, it kind of just went from there. Now they're Junior Hawks, so played from 6th to 8th, and now we're here.
Did you enjoy the tackling as much as you thought you would, or was it?
I don't really remember when I first started. I really kind of remember 8th grade, but I mean, I'm sure I did. I mean, I do remember times where I was kind of scared to hit, but that was just me being younger, not understanding how fun it actually was, and over time I got used to it, and yeah. So
what were some of the challenges you faced on the field, and have you overcame them? Are you still working on them?
Biggest thing that I overcame from last year that was a big issue wasn't even more physical stuff. I mean, yes, I got bigger, stronger, faster in the off season that's helping out a lot this year. But last year it was more just of a confidence thing in just believing in myself and just going out there and not thinking too much. I think this year I'm a lot more relaxed, and I've really took the time to work on it by reading different things, listening to different people, and just trusting my guys around me, trusting my unit, and yeah.
Well, look at you now. You're now the captain of the football team, and that's a big responsibility. How do you plan on working with your teammates, your coaches, and just improving overall?
I think the biggest thing that not only myself but my other 3 captains, Anthony Farrow, Alex Cabral, and Ty Conley, is every day in practice is bringing that positive, infectious energy that the team needs. Because, I mean, when there's no energy in practice, I mean, it's going to be a bad practice, and we got to bring it every day. And also, just on top of that, just making sure everyone's locked in, and we're not taking it as a joke, because if we take practice as a joke, then that means the game things aren't going to go our way. And so that's kind of the biggest thing and I'm sure the other captains, if they're in here too, they would say the same thing. That's kind of our goal and our drive and what we strive to do every day.
Kind of going back on the question before, because football is obviously a super physical sport, but there's obviously a huge mentality part to it as well. So during game time, what's usually going through your mind?
Yeah, just kind of bouncing back to that. Obviously, a lot of nerves, a lot of butterflies, but that's normal. Just trying to tell myself to relax and just be me, trust my guys around me, and yeah, so just making sure I'm not getting ahead of myself, making sure I'm taking it one play at a time, understanding my reads, just not getting too ahead of myself and overwhelming myself.
You guys got your first win the other day, so
yes,
that's awesome. So how do you think the rest of the season is going to go, and why?
I think it was a good kickstart to our season, but I'm not going to sit here and get too ahead of myself. Obviously, got to take every game one game at a time, and can't be looking ahead to teams 2 or 3 weeks down the road. Just got to, right now it's Winchester, so just focus on Winchester and making sure that we take care of business. Can't overlook any teams. That's a big problem we had last year, where we would overlook teams and it wouldn't go in our favor. So this year, kind of making sure all the guys just understand, hey, we can't overlook these teams. Even if we think we're more physically better or whatever it may be, we can't just shy away from that. Got to be locked in the whole week and take care of business.
So it's your last year as a Hawk, obviously, senior year, and what lessons do you want to leave behind on the field? What advice do you have?
Just biggest thing in bracket Coach Brackett, our head coach, has said this to me a lot. Just being a positive leader, just shedding that positivity around everyone around me, and making sure my teammates see that. Because in the long run, if some of the younger teammates see me doing that, then hopefully that they'll do that to their friends, and just even outside of football, just making sure that they're positive. And if things go wrong, because things go wrong all the time in football, and that's positivity. That's what picks us up. So maybe if it's outside of football and they're down or something, just trying to be positive, and maybe they can think back to me or some examples that other guys have set in the program. So yeah.
So we asked you about a piece of advice that you carry with you or someone gave you, and you said that there's nothing wrong with having butterflies as long as you can get them to fly in formation. I think that's a really good quote, but why is it your favorite? Why do you follow that?
That's my favorite quote because so for some context to that quote, that's a quote by John Jones. I think it was maybe 11, 12 years ago when he said that. If you know who John Jones is, he's a very established, one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest UFC fighter of all time. Had some past issues, but his biggest thing is when he says that, what he means is not letting your fears and your anxieties and your worries consume you when you're out on the field of play. For him, it's the octagon, but for me, it's the field. So before each game, I'll listen to that quote, and there's a great interview that I forget his name, but a UFC reporter put out a video. It was an interview talking to him about it, and basically what John Jones said was just controlling it, not letting it consume you. And if the butterflies are flying formation, I mean, you can either let it consume you or you can harness it, and that's kind of what he means. Just harnessing those emotions and using them as a positive, good way. And there's another. I mean, it's kind of off topic what he said. There's another quote where he said, "Spitting fire back at your opponent." So picture fire, and you're either gonna let that fire consume you, like I just said, all the fears, doubt, anxiety, or you can take it back and spit it back at your opponent and use it to help your game. So that's kind of what he meant, and I love that quote.
So a lot in this podcast, we already talked about lessons and quotes and things you go by. So I'm guessing you've learned a lot of lessons from playing football. And do you have any certain ones that you're gonna carry with you into the real world after high school?
This is even bouncing back to some of the things that we just talked about. It's just being positive, and when adversity hits, and this is relevant in our most recent game against New North, we went down 7-0. Our offense couldn't get the ball moving, and it was like, well, what are we going to do? We have two more quarters to play. Are we either going to sit back and say, "Oh, this game's done. We can't move the ball," or are we going to battle adversity and try and come back from and fix our mistakes and score points? And that's what we did. So that's one of those things, just battling adversity with positivity and just not quitting. Just even if it's not going your way, because adversity is everywhere. If things aren't going your way, you can't just quit. You got to try and fight through it. So that's kind of what I'm going to take through, not just with football, but just anything in life, getting a job, personal issues, whatever, just making sure I don't quit and knowing that there's always a positive to certain side of things.
So why should students come to your next game?
I think students should come to our next game just because, last year we weren't the best team, young squad, but this year we're a lot more established, a lot more mature, and I feel like we're just a better overall team. We're a better family this year, and I think people should come out and see that and see the improvement that we put in, the work we put in. We've worked tirelessly since January in the weight room. All of our guys, we've been working for it. So, and I just think people need to come and appreciate that. So, yeah, that's why I think people should come to our next game.
All right, so I think that's all we have for today. Those are all our questions.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming on, and good luck with the season.
We were thrilled to have you as our first guest on the podcast, so thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
And that's it for this week's episode, and we'll see you next time on Talk with the Hawk.